officially, let me welcome everybody who's here to California Families for Supportive Homes. As you know, this is a group of people who are looking for new ways to create more and better permanent supportive homes in our communities for people, adults living with disabling mental illnesses. And we have been going for several years now, I think, by Zoom. Our main purpose is to connect with each other. We have realized that there are all these different groups working in silos in different locations around the state and discovering new strategies and doing great things. And since we have Zoom, now we can get together and share our ideas. And so that's the purpose. Our guest today is Ian Adamson. He's the founding executive director of Mateo Lodge in San Mateo County. And I will say that there is no one in San Mateo County who knows more than Ian about how to help people with serious mental illness and their families. No one with more experience, and no one who approaches this work with more dedication or love. Mateo Lodge was founded by NAMI families in 1975. And that was when Ian was recruited to lead it. It now has a staff of 40, several supported residents, and innovative pre-crisis intervention programs. In addition, for many years, Ian and his staff have held on to a dream of one day creating a rural retreat property where residents of Mateo Lodge programs, their families, and others could go to be refreshed and restored in nature. And now that dream has come true. I have to add that Ian is an inspiration to all of us who work long and hard on these problems and sometimes get discouraged. I remember it might have been 20 years ago, Ian.
Yeah,
You
probably.
came to a NAMI meeting, a NAMI board meeting when I was on the board in San Mateo County, and you said, because you're all families, I want to tell you about my dream. And that was the dream was new.
Right.
And you didn't let go of the dream. You kept the
No,
dream.
that's right.
And it's so amazing that it and inspiring that it has come true. It's not about housing, which is the focus of our group, but it is about the land and the importance of nature and connecting to nature in mental health. And many of us who are wanting to create permanent supportive homes are also wanting to have, well, land around it, or at least a garden, something where people remember that they're part of a bigger picture and can be inspired by nature. So that's why it's so important for us to hear about Small Voice Farm today. The farm is situated on 15 acres of rolling green hills in Pescadero, a coastal community just about an hour from San Mateo. There's a large house with a big kitchen and a view deck, a small pond, 150 olive trees, and an impressive rainwater storage system, among other amenities. It's wholly owned by Mateo Lodge with no county funding. Small Voice Farm is a new vision. It's designed as a day retreat, not housing, but can be a key land-based healing element in the true continuum of care that we envision. So we're going to see photos of this beautiful property. We're going to see an 8-minute video of Ian when he led the tour of it recently. And that'll give you an overview and make you sort of feel like you've been there. And then we will ask for Ian to respond to our questions. So I'm going to share my screen.
I'm going to talk for a few minutes, so if you want to sit down, you can. We're going to have food in about half an hour, because
Half an hour?
half an hour or an hour, when you want to do it.
It's ready now.
It's ready now, okay. So my wife has already shot my talk down to 15 minutes. Denby and I have been married 44 years, 43. Yeah. And welcome to our anniversary party. No, it's very nice to have you here. Come out to the farm, we appreciate it. It's not the easiest place to find, but at the very core, Mateo Lodge wanted to have a retreat center where people can come and they can, people that are mentally ill, family members, any other person in the community that might have a reason to be associated with Mateo Lodge. And to be able to come to a place like this and just go, wow, it's beautiful, right? Yeah.
Right.
So that was my goal, is to have make this opportunity for people that, like our clients, that never get out of the city, to come here. So what we're using,
Excuse me, how long would they stay if they came out?
they come during the day. It's a day thing right now. Come to retreat. Occasionally people stay overnight if they want to. Save the questions to the end though, guys.
Okay.
So the vision for me was to try and find a place that would take people's breath away with its beauty, okay? And we found it here. And we built a $70,000 deck right here, you're standing on it. Before it had this rinky-dink little deck. But so you can see the beautiful valley. If you ever get a chance to drive Cloverdale Road, it's one of the most beautiful roads in America. All the way down to Gazos Creek. It's beautiful. So the people at Mateo Lodge worked hard and saved and fundraised for years to buy this. Nobody, no deep pockets helped us at all. It was all, you know, $2,500, $500, those kind of donations, hard work. And that's the way we do it at Mateo Lodge. And it's been very successful, but it's hard work. So this is the place. Right now we're using it for day activities for clients or staff or family members. Family members can come here and talk to me if they have crisis in their family going on, or their family's having a rough time. And we've literally, my wife and I have sat here and talked to a family member who literally lives up there, who we did an intervention for with our fast team, and now their daughter is healthy and in a program at Hawthorne House. So that's, we've done, my wife has done sewing groups here, art groups here.
Yeah.
We've had, we have an existing art program at Mateo Lodge in the facilities, and they come out here. The last time they came out here, they built kites and flew them off the hill there. Yeah, kind of fun stuff, really fun stuff. So this program is entirely funded privately by Mateo Lodge, you know, fundraisers and lovers of Mateo Lodge, and we don't accept any, we have got no county money, we're not accepting it. I don't want the county to tell me what to do with this property, because they have their own agendas, which is basically keeping people out of locked facilities and trying whatever. But we can get into that if you want to. But so this program is entirely funded. You're welcome to make a donation for the tea today if you want to. Just, you know, we'll put something out, you can make a donation if you want to. You don't have to. If you need money, just ask me, I'll give it to you. That's our attitude, you know. We try to meet everybody's need. We try to meet people at the place they're at. That's our way that we do things. Like, for example, yesterday, call from a homeless person. We've got her in a motel right now. Ian, I need an In-N-Out burger. I said, fine, we'll get you an In-N-Out burger. So that's the way we operate here. Clients tell us what they need, we try and supply it. So this is a beautiful vision where people can come, and that includes all of you, NAMI people. If you want to use this facility free, you just have to say, Ian, we want to use it on Saturday, Sunday. We're going to have a call meeting for management. We'll lay on a tea for you. We'll wait on you just to come out here and be part of this beautiful thing, to take the energy that we get here, the peace, the quiet, the presence of God, or whatever you want to call it, to go back into the trenches and help people that are mentally ill. So we have, as you know, Mateo Lodge has 5 or 6 different programs. We have about 40 staff. We are in the trenches every day, halfway houses, 24-hour staff, working with people that are amongst the sickest mentally ill people. We also want to have this so that our staff can come and retreat and renew. You know, the parents can come here and retreat and renew. The clients can come here and they can call me, literally say, I want to come to the farm in. I want to do a sewing project with Denby. We'll say, fine, we'll get you a ride. They come out, they do it. They sit here, they work with Denby. They work with Denby in a massive quilt room there, which is probably about the size of a closet. And they do, this is our attitude at Mateo Lodge, to provide things that we all want that our clients will never get. You know, so that's it in a nutshell. I want you to enjoy your tea. I'm going to be here. I want you to walk around the house. You can, you know, just see the house and see the view and see the ground. If you have any questions at all, I'd rather take your questions rather than me talk at you. This was a dream that took years to realize. And we would love to buy the property next door, because this whole hill It's called Shalom Hill, Peace Hill. I would love to own that so that we don't have to deal with any neighbors coming in there not wanting to deal with mentally ill folks. So we want to control this whole hill if we can. So if anybody has a spare 1.5 million, talk to me after the meeting, and we'll try and acquire that property. That's our goal, though. That's our dream. And it's important to dream. All of you know this because we started Mateo Lodge in 1975, and we had nothing in the county. There was no CIT training. There was no Hawthorne House. There was no eucalyptus house. There was no outreach going on. If you were too sick to come to a clinic, you were out of luck. And so we started that trend in 1975. In 78, we opened our first little halfway houses. 86, we got Cassia House open. We opened the support team, the outreach team that got people that were the sickest into treatment. And that's our MO. We're still working with people that don't realize they're ill, that don't want to help. They're not sure about anything except they're not mentally ill. Those are the folks we want to help the most, and to get them, because everybody else can take care of the people that are willing to come into a clinic. But that's the history, and there's a lot of history in the Mateo Lodge. I'm very proud of it, and a lot of hard work from our board members. And so we want you to enjoy this place and realize this is a realization of a dream. All of you can dream. You're all capable of it. It doesn't take, you can all do. As long as you don't let go of your dreams, you can realize your dreams, okay? So sit down, enjoy yourself. I'll take questions right now, but then we're gonna have our tea. Yes?
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. Um, That's the first time that Ian has seen it. And I thought that's the first time you have seen this video.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm always struck by the fact that on my 63rd birthday, I fell 3 stories and broke my neck, and my neck is still looks a little stiff. When I talk, I can see it real clearly. But hey, I'm alive, so thank God for that.
I didn't notice it.
No, okay, well, that's just me. That's
Yeah,
okay.
well, of course. Now I'm going to show you some pictures.
Oh, beautiful.
Sorry
Well,
about
thank
the
you.
jerky
Great.
nature of the video. I really tried to fix that earlier, but I was unsuccessful apparently. So here is Shalom Hill, which is part of the 15 acres, and the Small Voice Farm is located on it. And I am wanting there. This is a view from the deck.
Yeah.
When you go into the property, you drive up to the property, you go through the house, and you step out onto the deck, and immediately you have this vista where Ian says it just takes your breath away, and everybody couldn't stop looking. The deck is really a great improvement, Ian. That was a good investment. And so this is more of the vista, the deck. Here's Denby's gardening area, and more looking around different sides of the deck. Is this the road you were talking about that was so beautiful, Ian?
Yep, that's it.
What's the name of the road?
Well, that may not be Cloverdale. Cloverdale's at the bottom. You can see a straight line.
Okay.
That right down there. It's Cloverdale Road. It's in Pescadero in San Mateo County. I tell you honestly, it is one of the most beautiful roads in America, and everybody that drives it is just struck by that.
Yeah, I think I've been there once before. So it's beautiful.
That's Cloverdale. That's Cloverdale right there.
That was Cloverdale?
Water tanks.
The straight one.
Yes.
Okay. Are there 7 of these?
7 5,000-gallon tanks that collect rainwater. We use it for irrigation in the orchard, etc.
And what about the water to the house?
We have creek water that comes out of the creek, and we have a very elaborate system that purifies it.
So you do have a creek on the property?
Not on the property, no. We have an easement that takes water out of the creek, though.
Oh, okay. So we went on a walk, and this is the olive grove.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how you press the olive oil?
Well, just to say that if anybody's ever done that, we have about 150 trees. It's about as hard as work as you can come across. It's very, in fact, the people that write books on it say never do this project with a loved one, because by the end of the project you won't love each other anymore. Well, we never had that experience, but it was very hard. It's very hard work picking olives and pressing it. But you know, Denby and I have always lived in a rural area and always had acreage and always worked it. So this is just another extension of that. So this year we had board members and some clients come out and pick olives. And when you do it together, it can be tremendous fun.
You have an actual manual olive press? Is that the kind that
No, we don't. We have a very don't want to offend anybody, but we have a very temperamental Italian olive press, which is we try to get that to work, and we've been successful some of the time. we need to get maybe a different kind, but that's what we're using right now.
Denby told me that now that she knows how much work it is to get a little bit of olive oil out of these olives, she understands why olive oil is so high priced.
Absolutely right. Yeah, especially the virgin kind. You know, virgin when it's just picked and just as pressed like we do there. It's extra virgin. That's the different nomenclature that goes with that. But we for a whole year we existed on the oil from the farm.
Wow, that's impressive. So
yeah,
it seems like that would be a fun activity for people to get involved with, to know how olive oil is actually made.
Yeah, but the one warning I'd put on that, it's very hard physical work. So
it's not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
So we're walking through the olive grove, and then there is a pond.
Here's beautiful little pond. The farm is it's pretty unique. It's a bird stopping off point, like for the migration. We've also put in, and previous owners put in, pollinating plants and plants that are natural. We're trying to go with what's organic and natural, and so when you walk around the area, you see incredible amounts of bees, hummingbirds, butterflies. It's just very inspirational on a summer day. It's so beautiful.
It was beautiful the day we were there. We were really
I know. Isn't that great?
It was wonderful. Okay, this is another vista. Walked way out in the field.
That's the view out to the ocean right there.
Yeah,
that's the ocean down there.
Yes, you can see the ocean from there.
Yeah.
Now tell us
that's the next door neighbor's property. That's the one we'd like to acquire because it has some flat land. And one of the things we'd love to do out on the farm eventually is have a horse program. There's all sorts of things we want to do there. Obviously, organic gardens, the olives, artwork, and counseling, and all those traditional things. We also want to have one day we'd love to have a small horse program, realizing they're so expensive. And but we do have staff already trained in equestrian things and very passionate about the horse world. And so that is something we look into for the future. That's part of the dream.
I understood that there was a lot of farm equipment on the property that you had to dispose of. Was it?
Well, we didn't know. The next door neighbors who owned it had to dispose of that. If you looking at that field you're looking at now, if you can envision probably 20 to 30 pieces of equipment on that field. The previous owner, the man that owned it before he passed away, would collect. He's one of these guys, an old farmer that collected all sorts of stuff. It was unreal what they had on there. It was just never-ending stuff.
Well, now it's more of a clear view.
Yep, right. They got one trailer left there.
There must be a story behind this trailer because it looks like it's been there since the Civil War or something.
Yeah, too big to move, I think is the story.
We had a lot of laughs looking at
that. Too big to move. But, it's like we've already had several inquiries about whether it's for rent, but it's not on our property.
Oh, it's not on your property.
No.
Here's more about the deck, and you're going to see pictures of Denby does beautiful things with flowers.
It
And,
does.
and you're going to see pictures of this amazingly beautiful tea they put on for us with special china and fancy napkins and everything. And the food was fabulous. It was a lovely time.
Yeah, this is, of course, what my wife does for me every day.
Yes.
I wish, but no, this is but there's a family tradition there too, Melinda. I think I've told you. My father was a butler in England,
Huh.
and he actually, it's a long story. I'll tell it to you sometime, but he waited tables in the Houses of Parliament. He worked in Buckingham Palace at times. So there's a long history of serving tea appropriately.
Oh.
And so we're jumping on that, and it's a little bit of a family tradition. So we love to do that, and so we did that here.
I have to say it was a surprise to see the fancy teacups and the spoons and everything at an event like this. It's not what we usually get at.
Well, another part of that too, as you know my story, Melinda, but many people may not, is that my wife and I lost our house in the CCU fire in Santa Cruz in 2015. And one of the things, when we actually lost everything, it was completely destroyed, including all my wife's china from her grandmother and everything else. But when but let me tell you the positive side of that. When you work in the community for a nonprofit doing good works for over 40 years, like I have, everybody comes out the woodwork and wants to help you when they hear you're in trouble. And so now we have quite the china collection, as you saw on that day. Everybody's given us their china, and it's not junk. People have been so kind. They look at, maybe giving us a special teacup or two. And so we have amassed this now, and it comes in very handy for big groups,
Well, it's a lovely surprise to have something so fine in a gathering like this.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
There's Ian again. Now this is the last picture, but I just wanted to show that there's this vision board that you've been.
That's it. Yeah. Right.
Talk to us about the vision board and how that was used.
Sure. We did the vision board probably about the time I spoke to you about it 20 years ago. But anything's possible, but definitely we wanted a place that would feed the human spirit, to come out of the city and just look and be. And I've always had this core belief that the mentally ill that we serve, they should get everything we get and get the best out of life. And so in little ways, we've always done that. So to have a client come and just sit there on the deck and wait on them, say, would you like tea? Would you like a sandwich? Would you like a hamburger? What would you like? That's part of it. So that's number one. We have organic gardens. My wife is doing them. We had a wonderful crop of flowers last year and a incredible crop of vegetables. We should send you some pictures about that. We also want to talk about, like, everybody wants sustainability and all of this and everything organic. Well, my wife and I have been doing that for 40 years. It's nothing new to us. That's the way of the future. And that's what we want to bring to anybody who comes to the farm, is experience organic, the way you grow things, etc. The horse program is something that's passionate for 2 or 3 of my staff who live for horses and are fully trained in equestrian therapy. So that's something that may be happening in the future. We may have, right now we just have cats and we don't have any animals, but we may well have animals in the future, like chickens, that are easy to take care of. Maybe, but where we are is very wild, and there's cougars, raccoons, coyotes. We've already lost a cat or 2. So you have to be aware that those folks, it's a very wild environment. And there will be, maybe at some point, we'll be doing some housing out there too. We haven't really, thought about that too much, but that's something we also can do. So it's multifaceted, what we want to use it for. But basically, what we want is for people to have an experience which is truly quality and truly inspirational. And so, they can go back and say, hey, I've been to the farm, I've done this. and we transport them out there and take them home. And so that's basically about that. There's other things too, but it would take too long to tell you everything. But
And I've stopped my share now so that
okay, dear.
we can all see each other.
Okay.
Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about the financing.
Sure. Yeah, we'll do. It's very simple on the farm. People have asked me over the years, how do you do financing? And believe me, I've tried everything. I've had the slick, people come in and tell me about how to do fundraising, and it never works. It doesn't really result in anything from my experience. But the only way fundraising works for me, and always for Mateo Lodge, because, and it might be a shortcoming on my part that I'm not, I'd rather earn it than ask for it, so how we do that at Mateo Lodge is we most of the money that comes into Mateo Lodge are from family members that we have helped, or people that have heard about us helping families. And I think that's very authentic and genuine. And I like that idea. So most of the donations that come in are between, like, we even have 10 I love the $10 donation, $25 donations, because those people that are giving that money, they don't have money to give. You can tell that it's a struggle for them. But then, $100, $250, $500. We have very few in the history of the organization deep pocket grants money, but we have it. We've had some, but most of the money that came into Small Voice Farm, that we ended up paying $2 million for the farm. And most of that money was raised by small donations over years, like 20, 30 years almost. So it took a long time. And, there's no big Silicon Valley executive giving us money. If there is, if they want to, that's great. But they need to know about our vision rather than being taken up by a slick presentation, by me. So I have a resistance to, I'll go talk to anybody anywhere for free about our programs. But the reality is most of our support comes from just family members, ordinary family members. And if people have money, then great, give us more. But if you don't have anything, then don't give us anything. That's our attitude. We try to take care of everybody and have a loving approach to everybody. But fundraising for me is not anything that's mysterious. You work hard, you help people, and then people want to help you. It's that simple.
Did you have a designated fund or like a bank account or something that
No,
you?
what I do have, well, we have a board account. Yeah, so that is, in that sense, is a designated fund for different things that the board decides what they want to do. But what I do have, I have a financial manager, DJ. It's just outstanding. And I like to say about her, she's one of the few people in the world that I've ever met that money has no power over. She seems to, whatever she does, it always seems that she finds money for the things that we need. She manages the money. We're a small organization. We don't have a lot of office staff, if any at all. So DJ basically over the years has taken that on and has made sure that whatever funds come into our organization are really treated with the greatest respect and honesty, and are obviously put to go to clients rather than to, fat executive salaries and things like that. Because a lot of growth, even in the nonprofit world, is driven by executive salaries. So,
Well, you're talking about significant money, though, millions of dollars, and now you need
2 million, yeah.
1.5
$1,999,000 to be exact.
99 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, we did have one other thing we did. Let me tell you, this is significant. So let me tell you about this. We bought a piece of property. And so when we sold that, and it's a long story, I could tell your executive committee if you want to know all the ins and out of it. But we did buy a piece of property, and that went up in value, and we were able to realize and sell that for about $800,000. So that was a major part of this funding. At the same time, so we did own property that we bought when we were fledgling, and with like everything else that went up with the property values, as you guys understand that because you're in the property business, at least trying to get property for mentally ill folks. That was like about $800,000 of the 2 million. So that was very significant, but that wasn't given to us by the county. That was the fact that we bought real estate smartly and sold it at the right time.
And so you're not going after any kind of grants or foundation contributions?
Here's my attitude to that is I am currently not going after any grants because not that it's a bad thing to do, it's a great thing to do. Who's got time to do it? I don't. And you can honestly, you can spend months trying to get a grant and you don't get it. So so in terms of the farm, you know, if anybody on your board or anybody you know has that talent, yeah, God bless them. Go for it. Try and go for it. Yes. But often, you know, there's a lot to be said about that. But in answer directly to your question, I am not pursuing actively any grants right now, but it doesn't mean I won't be doing that next week. So the way that works, if DJ or one of my staff or one of the board members says there's an opportunity, we'll go for it. You know, we will go for it. But as of right now, I'm just relicensing one of our programs. So all my energy has gone into that, which is, you know, and we do have county funding for all of our other programs. So I want to make that clear too. So we have significant county funding for all the residential programs we already operate. The farm is a different animal because I really wanted to have something where the county couldn't have a say about what goes on in it. I wanted to just do it from purely from the family point of view.
How do you think about the sustainability of the farm? And I don't mean environmental sustainability. I mean financial.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's financial stability. Yeah, I think about that a lot, and I think we've been blessed in the beginning. And again, I could share more with an executive group about how that's working out. But yeah, I do. Yeah, I think about that. You know, my wife and I are getting older, and at some point, maybe I'll retire. I'll step back, and it would mean that to keep the farm going, we're on a firm financial footing with the farm at least for 3 or 4 years. Beyond that, we don't need to come up with something else. So we're looking into ways that, you know, we can sustain the farm. Having said that, you know, hopefully the real estate will still be, if we ever did have to sell it, it wouldn't be a disaster. But you know, you never know in America. I mean, things are happening here. It's interesting, isn't it?
Could say that, yes. Rex has the question of, does this property qualify for a county tax exemption?
Good question. Good question. We're fighting that good fight right now. And it's interesting how they look at that. All of our other properties, we've qualified for a tax exemption. This one, because it's a little different, because we don't have clients living there, Rex, they're balking at it, but we're going to beat them down with a stick and we'll get that property exemption. It's a lot of money. Oh my gosh, a lot of money.
The taxes.
Yeah, a lot of money. So we want to get that money. Yeah.
Is Mateo Lodge and the Small Voice Farm under the same 501c3?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
And Jan has the note. This is so, with multiple O's, so encouraging.
Oh, thanks. Well, good.
She says all of it. I want to learn.
Yeah,
more.
I often think, Melinda, that my job is a ministry. If you use ecclesiastical language, it's a ministry of encouragement. My job is to encourage people and in groups like yours. I've been all over the country and all over the state for free, talking to groups of parents that have the courage and the passion to actually try to do something about the mentally ill housing situation. So yeah, that's what it's all about for me. If I can spend, an hour or two talking to groups like this, it makes me feel great. I feel like, I used to be I coached soccer for 40 years and I played a lot at pretty high level. And that for me, when I give a presentation like this to a group that's listening, they're actually willing to take some action, I feel like I'm scoring goals. I do. I feel like I'm scoring goals. I want to punch the air. I'm like, yes. scored a goal there. Put a little encouragement in people's, plate.
Well, I think you're successful at that.
Thank you.
You did
I hope so.
you have some thoughts about possibly someday putting housing on the property. What's the vision?
Yeah. No, I think that we may well, if we can. I do think that it's important to have a retreat center which kind of has its capacity to have retreat going on. But in the next door neighbor's property, that we could have, and interestingly enough, that property can only be sold to a non-profit. And out here where we are, we're in a very agricultural area. Farm labor housing is in demand all the time. So what I was thinking is, we look down the road, is I would like to see some clients maybe in there, especially from our community out here on the coast. I think that would be a great thing to offer for people. And it would be, I think it would be independent living housing for maybe a half a dozen people. That's something we definitely, I think about sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of our clients that would love to live in the country, it's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we have one particular client that he was born right here in the Santa Cruz Mountains and lived here, and I've taken him with me. We've cut firewood together, and he's a hardworking guy. He has a very severe mental illness, but he loves to work. So I'd love to have him out here with us. He's somebody that can't stop working. So it's great.
Well, it seems like there might be opportunity for supported employment there. Opportunity.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We're not. Yeah, that's possible. But I know from having 40 employees, we have about 38, I think, something like that. Employees are a whole different can of worms. They're a lot more trouble than clients, let me tell you. The mentally ill folks put up with anything. They're wonderful people. They are guileless. They're beautiful. That's why I got involved with the mental illness. I love the people. I love them, and I love the families. Once you start employing people get all sorts of expectations. But yeah, there you go.
Well, I think you did mention this earlier, but Barbara asked, do you charge people or groups for use of the property, and can people stay overnight?
No, yeah, people can stay overnight if you want to. We have 4 beds in the main property. You can do that, and if a group wanted to come, if you could afford it, if you were rich, yes, we'd charge it. If you were poor, we'd give it to you. And what I like to do, I'm a big believer in donations. My wife and I, we tithe our money, we give 1/10 of our money away, and I find that to be an incredibly exhilarating thing to do, because we don't have to. If I find a need in my personal life, I don't have to wonder whether we have the money. I just look to see my little column where the tithe money is, and we have it, we give it. And so I like to do things from the point of view of, come out, and if you want to leave us a donation, leave us a donation. That's simple, and we don't have to, and I'm very generous. I always have been, but I have been the recipient of great generosity in my life. I could give you lots of examples of that, where and here I am living. We're living on the farm right now, and it is gorgeous. I mean, we lost our house, and now we're living on this incredibly beautiful place. I mean, it's gobsmacking. It's unbelievable what's happened in my life. And so my view is, we have to be generous, because the universe has been so generous to us,
Well, I think when you take donations rather than have fees and so forth, the bookkeeping is a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, that's right. You get a 503 letter as a tax deductible donation, and it's pretty clean, and
Yeah.
and it doesn't. I'm very anxious not. I want people to come that maybe don't have the means. Mentally ill. Mentally ill clients. They don't have money to spend. I mean, if they have like $1,200 in SSI, 1,000 of that goes straight on their housing. So I'm very, and again, it's Melinda, it's partly, I'm sure, because of my British background, working class kid growing up in the slums of London, born into the slums of London, no running water. So I have a passion for helping people that have nothing at the same time, I have a very strong sense of responsibility that people should, pay and work hard. So it's an interesting combination that I come up with my life philosophies for.
So Linda has a question. You've had your hand
Yes,
up.
Linda.
Hello. My
Hello
God,
there. Hey, Linda.
this is so inspirational.
Oh, good.
This reminds me a lot, when I went to Trieste, Italy, which is
Oh,
of
yeah.
course world
Yeah.
famous, and we stayed at a Hotel Trieste, and it was run 100% by consumers with severe
Oh.
mental illness. And by the way, in Italy, I talk about Italy a lot. They have people with schizophrenia that have severe mental illness also. And one of the things that I always have, I've been doing this for 20 years, is, when is the last time one of our clients, and we share clients, we serve the same population. When is the last time they went on vacation?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we all go on
Right.
vacation, but
Right.
their whole life is a staycation, right? They're living in programs and facilities and, things like that. And I would love, one of my dreams was to have an exchange program with Trieste, Italy,
What a
that they
great
would
idea.
send
Wow. That's
three
great.
clients and a staff.
I'll go. I'll take some clients. Just get me the address.
Yeah, no, I think, you could integrate to that. And
I love it.
everything
I
else.
love Italy.
Yeah, yeah. I
But let
mean,
me
it
tell
would
you,
be
let me-
phenomenal.
In response to that, though, I want to tell you this, that at Mateo Lodge in Cassia, Humboldt, and Wally's Place had 3 programs. We go on vacation every year, sometimes 2. We go to Disneyland. We go all over the place. We go to Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk and stay there. We go camp. We do all sorts of fun stuff. We really do. Because you're right. That's my philosophy, is their lives should be as good as ours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I sometimes see in the system of care that there's a higher standard for our clients. You have to get up and make your bed. I don't get up and make my bed every morning.
Absolutely right.
it's-
Absolutely right. Put it in big letters. It's like I see here's a classic example. People say, well, go to the store and get your groceries. And I'm like, well, I don't walk to the store and get my groceries. I don't have to walk half a mile with a paper bag that's going to break. I don't
Right.
no, we're like, hey, you need help with that? We're going to help you with it. We'll take it if we can. Because we,
Yep.
we can't, we want them to do everything they can do that they want to do.
Mhm.
And we don't want to baby them and enable the illness. But at the same time, you're right. It's like I like to wake up in the morning and have my wife bring me tea and cookies, right? That's my thing, right? If a client,
Yeah.
when I was working in the 6-bed homes, people wouldn't get out of bed because they're over medicated. I'd make them coffee. I'd take them and give it to them. And I'd say, hey, it's time to get up. Here's a cup of coffee. Whoa, what a radical idea that is, right? No, that's what we do for each other. That's what we should be doing for the mentally ill. They should be cared for better than us because they're walking around with this 120-pound bag of mental illness weight on their back. They should have everything. I'll tell you one little, and you tell me I'm passionate about it, so I can go on a little bit when I get going. I remember when I had the privilege to take a client back to the White House. That's a long story. It's another presentation. I spent 3 whole days with him, morning, noon, and night with him. By the end of that trip, he was so much better, so much healthier. When we got on the plane, the first thing he did was to go into the bathroom, lock himself in, light up a cigarette, and make everybody panic that they smelled smoke on the plane, right? On the way back, he's saying to me, Ian, is this real? Is this an idea of reference? Is this part of my mental illness? I'm like, yes, it is. See if you can notice the signs. So yeah, we could do so much more than we're doing. And of course, I thank God I've never had a child that had a major mental illness, but I can only imagine what it's like to watch my kid having to live in some of these places where they don't get the food they want, where, they have to walk 2 miles to a store and carry groceries back in all kinds of weather. I mean, come on, guys, we can do better than that. Right?
Agree.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up. I'm waiting for the tickets to Trieste. Let me know, okay?
Let's do it. Let's do an
Yeah, let's
exchange
do it.
program.
Let's all
I
go.
love it.
Get a charter. Let's go.
Well, we could at least feature them in a program.
No, yeah, do it. It's great. Yeah.
Heard so much about it. What other questions are there? Anyone? Diane, I know you have actual land.
Oh,
How does this relate to what you might want to be doing with your property? Diane, by the way, Ian is in Colorado. She's the new NAMI executive director there now. Is that right, Diane?
I am president of NAMI, El Dorado County.
congratulations. Well done. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for
Thank
stepping
you.
up.
Melinda, thanks for asking me this. Right now, like when I bought the property, I thought of it as a place for, like for housing people with mental illness. It is conducive to being like a farm. So I have had chickens last year. They were picked up by a predator, but
Yeah,
right now my image is like I have a couple of greenhouses and a chicken area, and I'm having an ADU constructed. So eventually people will be able to live in the house. But lately I've been thinking, because a lot of NAMI families have been lately expressing frustration at their loved one being discharged from the PUF to nowhere, from jail to nowhere.
Absolutely.
And it's like
Absolutely.
freaking me right the hell out, and that's why.
Well, let me tell you that we're on the forefront of that. We are nagging. Let me tell you, let me talk. We'll have a meeting, you and I. We need to talk. But hey, I've been singing that song for years, and it happens all the time. There are certain institutions that are absolutely criminal. But anyway, let's not go there. But where is your land?
So I'm in Placerville, just like
Okay, yeah, I know where you are. My kids are in
3
Sacramento,
miles.
so yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to spend some time with you learning how you
Sure.
put together
Yeah.
Mateo Lodge. Because we need a system of housing in this county. We need several sites, and I'm really eager to get families together to, like we can't just sit around and wait for the government to do it. We
No,
have
you
to
can't.
step up.
No.
So
No.
that's what I want to learn more about, how you did that and how we can go forward.
Okay.
So thank
All
you.
right. All right. Sure.
That.
Well,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
we talk about how you did that and so forth. And
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about that. There's a book, I think it's by Schumacher, called Small is Beautiful. I'm a great believer in that. You start off small and do something beautiful, and people will realize, and guess, what's happening in the rest of the world is a factor too. We started in the 75, right in the middle of the deinstitutionalization movement. So when we started, we took people out of Napa. So we saved the county thousands and thousands of dollars, and they were successful with us. And the whole deinstitutionalization thing has kind of gone ape now. And the result of that is just walk around Santa Cruz or San Francisco and you'll see what the result of that is. But how we started was a 1 6-bed home. And we demonstrated that we could do beautiful things for those people in that home, take them out of institutions, save the county a whole lot of money. And say at some point after 3 years of operation, we say to the county, hey, we've saved you tons of money. Give us a contract. Give us a contract. Get your foot in the door to say, we want some money for our nonprofit. So the way Mateo Lodge did it, we started a nonprofit the same time that NAMI was starting, with back in California here and in Wisconsin, I think, or back east. There was this movement, the family movement. The same group of people started Mateo Lodge and said, we want housing now, permanent housing now for our loved ones. And we had a union organizer named Tony Hoffman, who is union organizing, came in real handy. We had parents that were willing to march right into Leo Ryan, congressman, God rest his soul, was killed tragically in Guyana. But they walked into his office and demanded that he do something. And, that's what needs to happen. Political power, but also demonstrating in a small way. And it involves a lot of work. It's not like the model that we have is not like, hey, let's get all political and go rage on the county. No, it was like, hey, let's do something beautiful. Let's show these people. Let's invite them in. What have we done? This person was costing the county $500,000 a year. is now costing them $12,000 a year. Hello, do the math. Do you want more of this? That kind of approach was our approach, you know, together with the fact that our parents were fearless and they stood up when they had to. And in the beginning, you know, Tony Hoffman and his wife were escorted out of the Mental Health Advisory Board by security because they were parents and they asked questions. We've gone from that now to where we're in a little better state. But to me, a leopard doesn't change its stripes very often. And we're still dealing with all the forces that be in terms of funding, like police, firefighters, all the major lobbying groups that want money. Mental health is way down there. And then, of course, you know, that's a whole nother discussion. But how we got going was doing something beautiful, doing something small, manageable, and showing people how great it could be. That's how we got going.
So you've been telling us a lot of things that are inspirational and empowering for people who may feel like they don't have the resources, and
Yeah,
you made it possible.
right.
What about the downsides? What are some of the risks? What are the fears? What keeps you up at night?
Me.
Uh,
Let's see. What keeps me up at night? Honestly, you want an honest answer to that? What keeps me up at night is I feel like sometimes I'm not doing as good a job as I should. I have wonderful staff working for me. I have lots of clients depending on me. That is a burden, you know, if I choose to be arrogant enough to think it's all about me, but I try not to do that. And I, you know, I think, you know, when you have so many balls in the air and you have so many vulnerable people and families are calling you all the time for help, that, you know, I think I'm made a certain way where I feel like that stuff, I think that probably would destroy a lot of people, but it doesn't do much to me except to make me try and work harder for the families that are looking to us for help. I don't worry about money. I never have. It may be a strength, it may be a weakness. But I'm not arrogant enough to know that I don't have to have somebody like DJ in my organization that knows money. Okay. So, and you look around for somebody, what are the indication of somebody like that? Well, they probably made some money. They know how to use money in America. I'm a working class kid from London. I came here, I knew nothing. I had $6 when I got into America. No, excuse me. I had $300. I thought it was a fortune, and the immigration officer clued me in that it would probably take a week to spend it, and I couldn't believe that. So I wasn't somebody who came in with tremendous sophistication to financially, but I came in with tremendous passion. And I think that I do believe this is a core belief. If your heart's in the right place and your ego's not involved and you want to do the right thing, that will attract attention. People will go, wow, let's get behind this. There's this crazy English guy is actually making a difference, getting people off the street. There's this crazy English guy that went to my son's apartment and talked him into getting treatment. That's evidence that you can go to the powers that be, foundations, county, and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We're not just asking you to give us money to do it, we're doing it. I think that's tremendously powerful.
so it sounds like you're saying, start doing it.
Stop. Do
Follow-
something. Do
Follow
something.
your passion, start doing it, and then
Yeah, and
demonstrate
it
that
doesn't have to be something that you have to pay a lot of money for. Don't put yourself in financial jeopardy or anything, but just start a movement that helps people. You know, I could tell you lots of things that, you know, I mean, lots of ideas, but I don't know how long you got, but like one of the things that we had, one of our early board presidents was one of the chairmen of Citibank, a very wealthy man, great guy. He helped me tremendously. Didn't give us a whole lot of money, but what he did do was him and his wife would do things like this. They call up the counselors who's working. They go, hey, have you had dinner yet? No. Well, let's bring dinner. What would you like? Would you like Thai food, fish? What would you like? Would you like McDonald's? What would you like? They'd show up at the house and the counselor wouldn't have to cook dinner for everybody because the Sperry's bought it and gave it to everybody. You know, I'm telling you, you start doing that for the non-profit community if you had a group of people that were absolutely knock down, drag out, loving, trying to serve, doing whatever they could, if I would, what would it be like if you called up a local nonprofit and said, hey, I'm willing to donate an afternoon cleaning rooms? They'd go, are you kidding me? Yes, please come on over. So I think how you build your reputation of people that are authentic and are really in the business and making the whole system better. This is a key thing. Everybody's willing to work for their little bit of the pie, but are you willing to make the whole system better? And I think that has great power. That has great power. And I think our people, although they wanted housing for their family members, yes, but they were also willing to make the system better. And that has tremendous power.
And you also said, I think a good piece of advice was, do have somebody on your team who understands money, somebody like.
Absolutely right. Yeah. You need somebody like Ian, but you also need somebody like DJ, who is, if I, to be specific, she's Republican, I'm Democrat. Great combination in America. As long as we don't hate each other, if we can work together, God bless America. That's what made this country great. Maybe we get back to that soon.
It's like the yin and the yang, the head and the heart, or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that is a testimony to having a team with diverse talents, I think, right?
Don't wait till you got the perfect team. I'm a great. So one of my core beliefs is vision. Leadership. Leadership does not wait to be told what to do. Leadership goes and does it. It's the right kind of leadership. If it's not ego-based leadership, we don't need any more of that in America. But if we got somebody that says, I want to help. What can I do? I want to help. I'm listening. Tell me what to do. I want to get out there. I want to help. I want to make a difference. I'm not prepared to sit on my ass. I want to make a difference. Tell me what to do. So it's that kind of attitude rather than waiting till you have the perfect group of people together before you take action. I think everybody should commit to doing something in the community now that's hands-on, so you end up, I got to tell you, I have one person that works for my organization, a wonderful staff, but I have one woman who's absolutely amazing, Bonnie, that at NAMI. If you don't know who Bonnie is, you've got to find out who she is. That woman is so amazing, and she has changed so many super ill people's lives just by her enthusiasm, love, and the fact that she won't quit. And she would, and I've always said that I try to hire people in my organization that are doing it already. They're not getting paid for it. I'll find them somebody who's doing this kind of stuff, and I'll go, hey, how would you like to get paid to do that? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, hey, come work for me, that seems to change the world. It really does.
Are there any further questions? I haven't seen anything else in the chat. Oh, Linda's hand is up.
Okay.
So, Ian, I have a little bit more of a practical question. So one of
Sure.
And I work in systems of care just like you do. So one of the challenges I always see is programs that will only take county clients, or this one will only take commercial insurance, and this one will only take private.
Yeah.
So at San Mateo Lodge, do you take clients that are not sponsored by county system of care?
What a great question.
That family pay.
Now,
so what does that look like?
We have county contracts. So their agenda, the county, is that we take their clients exclusively. So this is where Ian and the charisma that I have and the stuff that I've, the kind of capital I've built over 40 years of working comes in handy, because sometimes I tell them, sorry, I'm not taking that client. I'm taking somebody else, but it takes, if you got a county contract, the argument I have with them all the time is this. We're a nonprofit corporation. Yes, we have a county contract, but you do not pay for what we pay for. You pay for part of it. Therefore, you get part of our services, which means part of our services are completely independent. And one of the attractions of the farm is I don't have to listen to those guys. I don't, and you're in the real world there. It's real. It's real. They want a bang for the buck. And so what you have to do is go the extra mile, make sure they get the bang for the buck, but you also keep something in reserve for the desperate client who is so needy that nobody else is helping. That person that maybe they've trapped out of the locked hospital. They've literally put them in a cab to a shelter that doesn't exist. I'm not making this stuff up. You know that. You know, somebody who's listening. You know, somebody who's been evicted, who's camped out in the bushes in front of his house because he has nowhere to go. Those people are in Mateo Lodge now, and I've fought for them. And then maybe later they become a county client, you know. But in the beginning, there's always this push and pull about, no, we want all those beds. Well, good luck with that. We're non-profit. Maybe you give us like half the money that we need, but the rest of it we fundraise. Therefore, we get a right to say how we spend that money.
So will you take somebody who is not part of the system of care, they have Kaiser insurance, and the family can pay an extra maybe $2,000 or $3,000, not being
We're not interested in dinging families extra money. Never done it. Never been in that field. Do we take Kaiser patients? Yeah, we do. But they really pretty much, we're pretty committed to San Mateo County though. We do have Kaiser patients. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have anybody in mind, if you have, save yourself a whole bunch of trouble, call me up.
But
Anybody else who has a question, you can have my cell phone number. If you have anything legitimate you want to talk to me about, call me. Don't text me. Don't, you know, you can send me an email if you really want, but you get my flavor of how I love technology.
Yeah.
I had to run around the county today just to do this. It was crazy, you know. And then I have to find a kid in Peach Coffee who understands all the nuances and can tell me, you know, the good thing about technology, everybody knows it. What the world lacks is people with vision that wants to love and care for people. That's what the world lacks, not technology anymore. We don't need any more engineers. We don't need any more doctors or social workers, really. We need more people, just ordinary people that give a damn. That's what we need. End of sermon, sorry.
are you saying that you prefer people to leave you a voicemail rather than a text?
Personally, if you have something that, you know, because you are my priority, people that are not getting paid to do this, they're doing it for love, you can call my cell phone. It's 703-9855 and we'll have a conversation. And then I won't have to call you back because you already talked to me.
Well, but you're in the field all the time. You're not able to always answer the phone.
No, it's true. But if you leave me, just honestly, trust me, just call my cell phone.
Okay.
I'll try not to let you down. Of course, if for whatever reason, I may be, you know, I could be in Big Sur. I mean, I do take a day off every now and again. If I haven't called you back, call me again the next day.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, call the program and say, where the heck is Ian? I've called him twice. And I'm okay with that. I really want to respond to everybody that calls me.
Okay. It's good to know how everybody likes to be communicated with.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Because what we deal with, you know, I don't want to badmouth the county, but the clinics, they all have security people in them. The doors are all locked. You know, that's not Mateo Lodge. If you go to Cassia House, 420 Cassia Street, you walk in, you talk to a counselor. There's no security guards there. The door is open, you know, and that's my attitude. People hide behind whatever, you know. I try not to do that my whole life. And to be honest with you, nobody, the parents, I can list on probably one hand in 40-year career where parents have abused that privilege. Nobody abuses that privilege. They're all so grateful to have a number to call or a real person. People tell us that again and again. A real person to talk to, a real person, not an answer machine. No, I'll get back to you in 2 weeks. Not your call is very important to us. None of that garbage. No, we try to be the real thing. And we don't always make it. You know, we're human. We don't always make it, but we do the best we can.
Well, I'm looking out at the Brady Bunch pictures here, and I'm seeing everybody with a smile on their face.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. I got a smile on my face. Thank you.
You know, you've inspired us by the property. You've inspired us by the concept of bringing people into a place that can be where nature can inspire them.
Yeah.
So fundamental. It's so missing in our care. You've inspired us with your dream stamina, I guess I would call it. You know, you have a dream. You it's one thing to have a dream. It's another one to hold on to it.
Mhm.
a long enough time so that
Yeah.
it actually happens. You've inspired us with your idea about start small, just start doing it and allow it to expand organically that way.
Yeah,
You've
in business they call that a loss leader. You know, you just go out and do things. You make a name for yourself for what you're doing. You do something.
And you've inspired us by the idea of following your passion and your heart, but also having somebody who knows the business end and
Yeah.
knows how to manage money.
Yeah.
And you've inspired us by your energy and wonderfulness.
Well, thank you. Thank
I
you.
think if there aren't any other questions, this is the last call for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand, or you want to make a comment. We might let Ian go and get a latte there at Pete's Coffee. And
Diane asked a question. It's a good question. It's something I think I was thinking about too. So can you, she asked, if someone shows up from a different county, can they live at Mateo House?
Get called that. I get asked that almost every other day. You know, the fact is that the people in our county in San Mateo work very hard to start programs in our county. So I encourage everybody to start in their own county. Don't send just your kids. However, the rule is if somebody's in our county and they're physically there, they're in our county.
Mhm.
I'm not telling you to send your kid here because it may not work for them. You know, it's a dangerous thing to do. Just send your kid out of the county. Don't do it. But you know, everybody they hear about our programs. Everybody wants to send. You know, I've calls from everywhere, Canada, everywhere. All want to send their kids here. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm not saying that we're sending anybody to you, but one of the family members that called me today was in despair. His daughter was let out from the puff, and she got her in the car and she drove to San Mateo County, and he doesn't. He has no idea where she is.
That's totally legit.
That's
Have
what
him
I'm
call
talking
me.
about.
Have him call
Yeah.
me. No, that happens all the time because we have the airport, and so family members call me and say, "Hey, my daughter's here."
Yeah.
And we will try to help everybody, but if it's the client that just decided to end up in our county, we have a duty to them. Yeah, we'll try.
Okay.
We'll try. We'll do what we can. Have them call me. They might have already called me. I've got a lot of calls when I've been sitting here. Yeah.
what's one thing that we can do for you, Ian, as we say farewell?
The one thing you can do for me is be happy. Just realize working with the mentally ill is just a wonderful, inspirational thing to do, and don't stop doing it. Don't let artificial powers and people that just don't care anymore bring you down. And I talk to my staff, I talk to them, I tell them they're in the inner circle of inner circles because we do things and we work with the mentally ill like none other. Of course, you have to say that because we're not paying them a lot of money, so you have to pump them up. But it's true. And I say that to different people we come across. Some social workers, I say, hey, guess what? You're in the Mateo Lodge inner circle. So you just extend that circle to you guys. And if you do that for me, I would be really incredibly grateful and pumped up that you actually listened to me and took something I said that might have been helpful to you. That's it for me. That's the greatest reward I can have. Seriously, I have a great life. And the choice of working with the mentally ill for me was a fantastic choice. Wouldn't have done anything else. And I've been a soccer coach. I've been a musician, a professional musician. I've done lots of stuff. But working with the mentally ill is my career. That's my career. That's what I chose. And it's been a wonderful career. And I'm still doing it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We can end by saying the message that came from Jan Melnico.
No, thanks.
Thank you, Ian. I came to the meeting feeling discouraged. You've provided hope and
yeah. Well, good luck to you, Jan.
so thank you for making all of the effort that you did to get online today. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
And
one last thing. When the year we lost in terms of encouragement, the year we lost our home, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Oh.
It was a tough year. I don't have it anymore. Well, I have cancer, but it's not stage 4. I'm fine. Don't feel sorry for me. But I wrote a song which was inspired by a New Testament verse that says, good, 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 overcome evil with good. And that's the mantra I want to leave you with, all right? So just do
love
that.
Aren't you going to sing it for us?
Oh, you want me to sing it? I don't have my guitar. Oh,
Yeah.
God. Good, 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 overcome evil with good. Good, 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 overcome evil with good. When things go wrong, and they do every day, what does the strong person say? Good, 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 overcome evil with good. That's lots of verses, but I'm not going to do it.
Love it.
There you go. Music. I
I
love
love
music.
it. We'll be singing. We'll be singing.
Yeah,
Thank you,
keep singing.
Ian. We're going to now have some time for our rest of us to.
Okay, yeah, and understand that I'm available anytime to do this, help you do this important work. God bless you all. Love you. Love you. Thanks, Melinda.
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Now we have a theme song.
Yeah, I like it.
Overcome evil with good. Good, good.
Catchy.
Overcome evil with good. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, let's transition. I know that good is happening in places. And who has some reports or various things that they've been doing that they want to share? Linda just to a
I
conference.
will share about, and this is what a lot of people at advocacy are working on hard right now, is SB 43, which is Susan Eggman, Senator Eggman's bill that passed through the Health and Human Services Committee. It passed unanimously with the Judiciary Committee. Now it goes to Appropriations. There's a lot of pushback. There is, and I get it. I'm in favor of it because I think it's genuinely going to help people. So that's there's a meeting at 5 o'clock tonight, a hearing for the Assembly members, which I'm going to jump onto that also. So I expect that to go long, but I think that's where a lot of advocates, family members are really focusing on right now. 150% on weekends, nights, all day, is about getting this legislation passed.
So one of the concerns about the legislation has been if people are required to go into treatment, is there treatment available? Do you think that once this requirement is passed, that will stimulate more development of quality services?
I think it's going to be, personally, I think it's going to be just as difficult as it is right now to get somebody on an LPS conservatorship, because none of the due process is going to change. Still going to have hearing officers, some better than others. You're still going to have people that frankly don't understand the law. And if you look at the 1967 LPS Act, none of that had to do with funding, didn't have anything to do with community supports. How much do we have? And at the same time, when you look at, Governor Newsom, he has put hundreds of millions, billions of dollars into the community. So, I do see the action happening, the bridge housing, the CCE fund, the BCHIP funds, all of those things. I don't think is a direct result, but I'm hoping they change the definition of grave disability. And I think there will be more community supports only because of the money that's already being dedicated right now anyways. And LPS never had a funding stream that went with it. That doesn't change. A lot of it doesn't change, but I don't think it's going to be easier to have people placed on hold or, involuntary care or any of that. I really don't think so. That's my gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think will change?
I think what will change is individuals that are, so this changes the definition of grave disability. Instead of danger to self, and gravely disabled, which means that you cannot provide food, shelter, and housing, which right now, you point to a dumpster and you say, that's how I get my food, and that meets that standard. This is going to add another dimension of the inability to recognize that you're sitting on the street, that you have open wounds all over you, you might have sepsis, that it's undeniable that you are gravely disabled. They're really trying to drill down on that language. And I've said for many years, and I think it resonates with most people, that when you walk down the streets, and all of us have a street near us, and you walk into a shelter, you never ever see somebody with Down syndrome. I never have, and I've gone to plenty of shelters and I've walked down plenty of streets. I do not see individuals that by all appearance look like they have Alzheimer's. I don't see individuals with Down syndrome, because you recognize that they may need help. So I think changing this description is going to help, somebody who clearly is not making great decisions with, just by itself, urinary incontinence causes skin breakdown, which causes open wounds, which causes sepsis. So, having that push a little bit more. It has always been part of the LPS Act that if you're a chronic alcoholic, you could be placed on a 5150, 5250 hold. This will be expanded. Drugs, alcohol has come a long way. Now we have meth, and now we have heroin, now we have marijuana, overuse. So I think all of those things need to be updated in the true sense. A lot has changed since 1967, and I was 3 years old. So, I think it needed to be updated. It's not perfect. Nothing is perfect. I've never seen anything perfect, I think this is a good start.
Yeah,
Lots of focus on that right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the objection that I've read about is that if the person is using any drugs, that would qualify them as gravely disabled. Now, it wouldn't. Okay. So I again, people tend to exaggerate this if
Right.
they like, to make their case. And at the same time, I know of people who are using drugs, and that combined with the mental illness, they really can't make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And are there really treatments for people like that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think there are going to be a lot of questions. There is nothing about the due process. And if anybody in our group has ever tried to get someone 5150, which I have with my family members, and they're like, nope, they don't meet the criteria. They'll hold them for 2 days. Our conserved clients, sometimes our conserved clients, we send them out to the hospital. They decompensated. One of our psychiatrists writes a 5150 hold, and Santa Clara EPS will just send them back. So we can't even get our own residents, who we know really well clinically and in all other ways. Sometimes we can't even get someone hospitalized. So I don't think the standard is going to be higher. That's for sure.
Okay.
And Diane?
Yeah. So I recently read a letter written by this woman, Susan Carpenter, that just blew my mind. She posted it on a family support group. She wrote it as the medical power of attorney over her son. She wrote it to the hospital that her son was in, trying to understand why they didn't start, why he was in the hospital for 6 months without them even medicating him. And I don't know if that was a sudden thing that she just recently got power of attorney or whatever, but it was the most powerful letter I've seen, and it just blew my mind. And I'm just wondering, I have been counseling families try and get LPS conservatorship, but what about medical power of attorney? It seems to have some heft. What does anybody here know about that? Linda,
I don't know about them.
Oh,
Well,
I mean,
I know about it relative to my parents.
right.
But I don't, and they had it in their estate plan. And so it required a letter from a doctor and an agreement of both my sister and me to say that they were not able to take care of themselves medically, and appointed the two of us with medical power of attorney.
Right. Yeah,
But
we did.
but you know, our children don't have a trust set up, right? I mean, I suspect it would be possible to work with a lawyer and define under what circumstances you could become medical power of attorney. But you know, the thing of it is, with my parents, with dementia and everything, it wasn't questionable, you know, but the kind of diseases our kids have, my son can present very well when he's very sick.
Right.
And don't the person has to give permission for you to have medical.
Right. Right. So if
Right.
you get them when they're stable,
Yeah.
like my son right now is stable and he doesn't want to be conserved. He is, but he doesn't want to be. But eventually down the road, he's going to want to contest it, and he'll be able to convince the judge that he doesn't need to be conserved. So my thing is, well, I'm going to try and it's like a advanced directive for mental health. And so, you know, you say, well, listen, Tarek, is this still being recorded? So you say,
Yes.
you know, in case something happens to you, I want to be able to, you know, speak on your behalf. I want to be able to advocate for you. I want to make sure that you get what you need to restore the state that you're in now. And he would say, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so, as far as I know, I've completed 2 of them, one for my mom and one for somebody who lives here. And it's a document that you can download off the internet. It requires the person's signature. Yes, it requires the person's signature, and it requires 2 witnesses and notary public. And I think that, you know, we're thinking that, you know, well, mental health isn't recognized as a medical condition, but at some point it is, because they need medication, they need to be under a doctor's care, they need to be sometimes hospitalized. It is a medical condition, and we can say it is. And we're we're empowering ourselves, and we're changing the paradigm. We don't have to wait for them.
Yeah, I have a question that, is there any way for you to contact that person that wrote the letter?
Yeah, I had a long conversation with her. What questions do you want to know?
Well, I was thinking she might be a good speaker for our group.
I will ask her.
Because this is a dilemma that we've all faced.
Yeah. She said she'd do anything to help other families. I'll call her again.
Can you forward the letter?
I'll ask her. I think I forwarded it to one of our families who is recommended try this. But yeah, I'll get her permission and I'll forward it to everyone.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. And it would also be interesting to find out if there's any way they can throw HIPAA laws at you, because
that's the point. With medical power of attorney, they shouldn't be able to, right?
That's what I would think, but,
yeah.
but you know, it seems as if HIPAA laws trump everything. I don't know. In mental illness, it doesn't with other illnesses. It is not enforced at the same way.
Right, but I think power of attorney maybe trumps that.
That would be great.
This is something for us to look into, because when I saw this letter, I go, oh my God, this thing has been staring me in the face for 3 years, and I didn't even think of it. But maybe it can work.
I can imagine getting power of attorney when your kid is stable and they agree to it. Then there's a decompensation. and the kid's in the hospital and saying, I don't want this power of attorney. And the patient's rights person comes in and says, you can protest this, and it becomes a big mess.
But would a patient's rights person come in and say this if it was your mom with Alzheimer's?
No, of course
No,
not.
because that's not the way, as Barbara's pointing out, the whole mental illness care system is way different. The overuse of defending a person's civil rights to the point of ridiculousness is act.
Well, I don't want to accept that anymore.
Well,
We'll join you. We'll join you.
yay. I can see this becoming a possible, I want to say, case or a public discussion point. It's a really good thing to think about and talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Make people aware of. So thanks for bringing that up, Diane. That's very interesting. I've asked my well son for medical power of attorney, or something where he indicates that I'm available to help him if he gets into a medical crisis. Unfortunately, he can't imagine such a situation because younger people always think they're invulnerable to everything. But he's not married. He doesn't have anybody else to be his advocate. And what right would I have if he were hospitalized and I went there and said, I'm his mom, I don't know if I would have any right to make decisions or help him if he were incapacitated. And that's with my other son, because he's not conserved anymore. It leaves people in a dangerous situation not to have an advocate. And that's for all of us too, but we probably have people, partners.
Right. Well, if you're married, it's the spouse usually.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's one of the reasons why Roger and I got married at our age, is we thought, just imagine he has a health crisis and I go in the hospital and say, well, I'm his girlfriend. And so well, I'm in charge. A lot more status if you're the wife. And it's about taking care of each other. Like, you really want to be in a position to take care of the people you love. And how we are left powerless as parents with this.
Mm-hmm.
So this, going back to supportive housing, this whole idea of the medical power of attorney, it seems like this is a something that should be at least considered in all the agreements that people have to have in place to come up with like permanent supportive housing. And like a VEC house that we heard about last week, I know we're requiring some kind of trust fund. I mean, because if you're going to have permanent housing, you have to have permanent access to funds. But then there also has to be the way of taking care medically. And what happens? Let's say that this works to get the medical power of attorney for the parent, but what happens when the parent dies? Mm-hmm. I think this is a really important issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's why proxy parent was also created.
Yeah.
And they came to speak at the NAMI Santa Cruz meeting once, and I've caught them a couple of other times, but it seems like they have more momentum towards Southern California. I'm not
No,
sure.
they do. Yes, they are based in Southern California. They have great support down there, and they have limited support up here, but they're trying to get more inroads.
Right.
This is something that we might be able to help them with. We've had them on California Families twice. And I've had lots of conversations with Bruce. There's another organization that is, I won't say struggling, but facing sustainability issues. But the I just forgot what I was going to say. What was it about the
Proxy parent.
proxy parent? They don't have, so their thing is when your trust gets activated, they have a personal care manager, they call it, but they don't have any people up here. So how do they find the people? They do it through networking and so forth. We need to keep feeding them anybody that we find that might be a possible personal care worker. This is what I worry about. When I die and the trust kicks in, proxy parent will have this money, but they won't have anybody to be in relationship with my son.
That's right.
Well,
You know,
yeah, I was
I
gonna, go ahead.
I was steered towards a fiduciary professional organization, and I looked through all the fiduciaries that listed themselves, and I never even heard of a fiduciary before. I didn't even know what it was, but it's a person who handles the matters of the estate and also can handle the care. So the one I found is right downtown Placerville, and she's not an advertisement. And she and her partner worked in the public guardian's office for 15 years each.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, and the process is that, as I can see it, you introduce them to your loved one and, you know, gradually help them become familiar with each other and,
Yeah.
you know, pave the road. So that's what I was concerned about proxy parent up here. I didn't see, like, who's going to look after him, you know? I wanted somebody closer. So that's what that's the new working solution right now is this fiduciary.
So this is why we're having a program on private case managers, trying to find those. But that's a really important issue. It's one thing to have the special needs trust set up. It's another thing to have a person that's
Right, and it's easy to find a fiduciary that will manage the money. The issue is who does boots on the ground,
Right.
and many of them don't.
There are people who do it. And there is a professional organization. Maybe this is the one that you found, Diane. We found one, be a secondary executor of our estate, in case everybody else that's available isn't available. And he's terrific. But he does, and as a person, you know, somebody that you want to be part of your family affairs, but he doesn't specialize in working with the difficult mentally ill people. I might want to talk with him and see if he knows.
Bruce had mentioned to me that I asked him, well, where are you going to find people to really take care of, you know? And he said, oh, well, we look at retired social workers. We look at, you know, so like they have like a field of people that they can draw from, but it's work to, you know, match up a person with a situation.
Yeah, that's a risk. Wonder if there's anything that we could more proactively do about that. Not forming the network of people who could do that kind of care.
Yeah, that would be really useful. I have done some research on it for Santa Clara County, and I found people that were competent, but I didn't think they're going to outlive me. And at least in their working years. And I didn't find anyone that had a really good plan for how they were going to retire and who were they training to take over.
The succession plan, and yeah, you and I saw that with Judy. I mean, that just completely fell apart because there was nobody to step in and take over for that. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. So So I don't know. I'm interested in certainly finding out about fiduciaries who could handles, and again, it's county-wide, right? So, I have a friend that has a good one in Monterey County, but I haven't found anybody that I thought would be able to take over at my death. And I would be really interested in trying to, I mean, they must exist.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I had that website that you could search and see what the people's qualifications were, but I could
Oh, it's called PFAC,
back and find that. What?
Professional
Yeah.
Fiduciaries of California. It's something like
Mhm.
PFAC. And it's a website and it lists all these people,
Mhm.
who are professionals with their bios and everything. So the way I found the guy that we're using for our our other parts of our estate is I interviewed 3 of them. I just called them up, I saw the ones that I thought I'd like, and I interviewed 3 of them, and then I found this one that's just terrific, and we met for coffee and everything. So that's a source, but it's not targeted for this particular kind of care. And think how hard that kind of care must be and how people must burn out. I mean, you form an organization where if somebody burns out or dies, there's somebody there. This is one of the questions that I asked our guy, as okay, so we like you and we think you'll outlive us and we trust you, but what if you die? And he said, well, that's why I work in the professional organization and I get to know people that I really trust, and I have my secondaries that I would turn over my business to, and you would have to trust me and my judgment on who I would choose because you'd be gone. But that was very reassuring to me, especially when I looked at the website and I saw some very competent people that would be my second choice.
Mhm.
So it's a really sophisticated thing to think about.
Yeah.
But,
I wonder what this peer support specialist certification is going to do in terms of bringing more case management type of people into the field. I don't know. Any ideas on that?
Uh,
Anyone?
I haven't, I don't know enough about the peer support training other than the one at our county mental health. And that's not anywhere going to take the kind of situations and be able to manage them. I'm not sure, I'd like to know more about that, the peer programs, because it is possible, it has the great opportunity for providing bodies for just the day-to-day monitoring and checking in. All of that takes up really a lot of time for if you've got a room and board with 6 people in it, or any kind of congregate group housing. It takes a lot of monitoring in order to make sure that it's run smoothly. And you can't, and if you have highly paid individuals doing that, you're not
your
going to
money's going to run out fast.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, I started the training, the state training.
Oh,
How was it?
It's pretty thick with resources. My memory is not that great, so I can't like rattle off the different modules and stuff, but it sort of, they clarify the role of the peer support specialist as opposed to the clinicians is one of the main ideas. They spend a fair amount of time training on motivational interviewing, communication techniques, which I found very, very helpful. So now the last one that I'm taking is the last module is about note taking and documentation and your responsibilities as a professional peer support specialist. So there's a lot in there. I'm definitely afraid of taking the certification exam because my memory is not that great, but I'll have to do a lot of reviewing. There's a lot of information in this. The course is offered by hundreds of different providers throughout the state, and there's a lot of different formats. You could take it in every day for 2 weeks. You can take it, I mean, it's 80 hours. So the way I chose to take it is online in my own time. I just log into Canva and get going, so, and they do have a practice exam at the end.
Are you doing ARF or RCFE?
No, it's not for either of those. I took the training to be an administrator for an adult residential facility, and I took the course and I got licensed, but I did not follow through because I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. But I am interested in knowing more about what this peer support specialist training is about and what kind of powers people get and what kind of depth of understanding about mental illnesses and how to work with people that have talk about boots on the ground. That is a boots on the ground job. And so I think it could be really important. I think it could be really helpful for us. And especially, I mean, just think of all these homeless people that don't have anybody to advocate for them. And, and then all of us who want to make sure that our loved ones have somebody to advocate for them. I mean, it's just, the need is so huge. It's just, how are we gonna fill that need?
We start small. According to
That's right.
Good job. Good job.
Is that how it
start
went?
small and
Good,
keep
good,
at it.
good.
Good. Overcome evil with good. Well, it's 5:00, everyone. Are there any further thoughts or questions or things you want to bring up before we wrap? I'm really happy to see everybody here. I think this was a small group, but a very productive meeting. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
glad-
thank you.
I'm glad it was supported. It's good to be energized. What is our next program, Linda? Is that the?
Mm.
Are you
It's
still on?
the private case manager. It's on June 5th.
Okay, June 5th, private case managers. Boy, is that going to be
Oh,
rich discussion.
Yeah.
Talking about private case managers.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're going to have Lisa Pascali, and she has a background in law enforcement and a degree, an MFT. And she does private case management, and it's a very interesting combination of skills.
That is going to be great.
oh, good to know. Good.
All
I
right.
look forward to that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good to see everybody.
Good to be together.
Thank you.